It looks like it's getting worse. And so probably a good idea to get you on like the biologics, like the Remicade and the azathioprine.
Manjot, thank you so much for joining me today to discuss your journey with IBD. Thank you for taking the time. So happy you're here, brother.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So first off, can you tell everyone what were you diagnosed with? How old were you? And what was that like for you and your family?
Yeah, so initially I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, which then ended up changing to Crohn's disease when they noticed that the small intestine was involved.
Yep.
Initial diagnosis, I'd say, was probably 2013. It was just like, I think, second year, third year uni.
How many
Sorry, go
years
ahead.
ago?
12? 10, more than 10. Yeah,
Yeah,
12 or
10
13
to
years ago
15
now, I
years,
think.
somewhere in there. You were
Yeah,
diagnosed
it's
with,
been a long time. Jeez.
wow. And so a long time diagnosed with ulcerative colitis,
Mhm.
and you were living in Canada,
Yes.
right? And
Mhm.
did anyone in your family ever have this, like your grandparents or your parents or your brother? Were you the first one?
I was the first one. Yeah. No other historical issues ever.
Nothing. You're sitting here, you get diagnosed, and was it immediate that you were having all these terrible symptoms, or did it kind of slowly work up? And then what was that like when you told your family about this and they told you it was an incurable disease?
Yeah, so initially just it started off randomly out of nowhere. It was just a normal day, going to a soccer game to play, and then right before going, I had a bowel movement. I noticed like a little bit of like dark, like blood, it seemed like, but I kind of ignored it. I'm like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
But then the same night, noticed more of it. And so I ended up deciding that, hey, like, let's go to the doctor and see what's up. You
Hmm.
start worrying at that point, oh no, there's blood, like, is there cancer or something? And so I ended up going to the doctor, and she pretty much told us that maybe a good idea just to go to the GI specialist at that point right away, just to kind of get a colonoscopy, just to see what's going on. And so within like, I'd say a couple of weeks, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis
Mm.
out of nowhere. No previous signs of anything like that. And so they started me on a typical, the prednisone just to kind of control, which worked quite well, as it usually does. But
Yep.
as you start weaning, you start noting those signs come back. And so then I went through the acetol, I think is the medication
Yeah.
that put
It's a
you on.
mesalamine. It's a version of
Mesalamine,
mesalamine.
yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time, no indication of food being a problem. As per the doctors, they're like, yeah, just eat whatever you need to. The medication should help. Sure, continued for a month or two, and then it still started to kind of get worse, where it started to notice like pain in my abdomen, more loose stool, more frequency. And then at that point, when I went back, they pretty much did another colonoscopy and said that, yeah, it looks like it's getting worse. And so probably a good idea to get you on like the biologics, like the Remicade and the azathioprine.
Yeah. Immunomodulator plus the biologic. Yeah.
Plus the biologic. And at the time, like we had asked, like, is there something you can do with the diet? Because you think that what you're eating is probably messing up your gut. And my first gastroenterologist told me that it's probably better to eat more processed foods because it's easier to digest. And so recommendations they were like, you kind of joked, I wonder, but he was like, yeah, Cheetos or something.
Did you stay on the biologics and immunomodulators for a long time, or what was
A,
that?
a
What was that like?
while, yeah, probably about 10 to like 9 to 10 years. I was on Remicade. I thought initially potentially helped. And I was going back and forth to Australia because that's where I
Hmm.
was doing my school. And so I was able to take that with me. We
Hmm.
figured out a way to kind of import that in. So thought that was working. When I was there, I started watching some YouTube videos just to kind of have a look and see like, is there something else I can do?
Yeah.
And I ended up watching a video. I think you've done an interview with him, Kenny.
Kenny. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. So I really liked what he was kind of talking about because he had just kind of finished off his journey with like all the getting off the medications and whatnot,
Hmm.
and was really just kind of focusing on probiotics and changing your diet.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I did that. I changed my lifestyle when I was in Australia, and so it started to get a lot better. Actually, I was pretty much back at it, which was good. It was quite promising. But then after I finished, I came back to Canada. I went on a few trips, and after those few trips, it really just kind of went downhill again. And nothing changed. I still continue the probiotics. I still
Yeah.
continue
So the diet restriction and the beneficial bacteria, you're still doing everything the same, but your body slipped and it wasn't working anymore.
yeah,
And were you
yeah,
off the Remicade and azathioprine by then, or are you still on biologics as
still
well?
on it. Yeah, still
Wow.
on.
So the deck was stacked. You had gone restrictive eating, added
Yeah.
in beneficial bacteria, done things that really helped,
Yeah.
and at the same time, you're on azathioprine and you've been on Remicade for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this
So
is like 2022,
yeah, so this was around 2020,
2022,
2023 even.
even 2023. And so
Yeah.
what? And so now I guess you're looking, you're going, what else can I do? Because doctors are probably saying maybe we need surgery. You've tried it all, maybe change a biologic. What was the thought process there?
Yeah, it was essentially that the Remicade's not working anymore, is what I was getting from the doctors. And
Yeah.
so they were like, time to change the medication up. So Rinvoq was recommended. And so I was like, I guess, sure. At that point, I really didn't know what else to do because I had done a lot already. And I
Yes.
was like, well, I'm not really sure what else I can do.
Hmm.
Luckily, my mom was looking into all this stuff as well in the background. I'd pretty much given up, but my mom was looking into it all.
Yay, mom. Mom never
Yeah,
gave up hope.
literally. Like it would, if it wasn't for her, like no chance I would have
Man.
joined.
Everyone thank their moms. Everyone on this call, by the way, needs to thank their mom because our moms were always there for us. Me, Coach Armand,
Yeah.
Manjot as well. Okay, so mom saves the day, but is she the one who found us and started showing us to you?
She found your interview with someone.
Okay.
And so then she sat everybody around the table at night and we watched it on the screen, like everybody in the family. And so obviously, you're a bit hesitant to
Yeah.
kind of, because you've tried so many things, but my mom's like, well, it's worth trying. Like, and around that same time, you had an interview with Kenny. And so I was following Kenny quite a bit. And
Hmm.
so I felt like, if he felt like you were someone that he trusted, then
Legit. Yeah.
legit. Yeah. And so then why not give it a go? And at the end of the day, I feel like if there's a chance of getting your life back a little bit, then by all means.
You got to, right? And
Yeah.
and man, I mean, how much money did we spend on medications
Oh,
and
I know.
failed thing? I mean, triple, quadruple, 10 times more? I mean, you can't even put a number to it, right? So it's one thing that we all agree we need to invest in our health in something that's of integrity and
Yeah.
authentic and can really, and healing isn't a drive-through. It's not like we've created some perfect package. It's hard work, it's a chess match. Everyone has a customized plan. It takes a great amount of work ethic. You got to be ready to do it. But if you can work, man, the success can be huge.
Oh,
And
100%.
so you had your free IBD session to talk with our team with your family, right? Where you scheduled a call, your
Yeah.
mom, you, everyone sat down, talked to our team member, completely free, no hassle. Did that really
Yeah.
help you move forward in your experience to think this is something I'm going to do?
Yeah, definitely. We spoke with, I think, Julia.
Julia, who's in Canada,
After speaking with her, we kind of signed up right away, really. There was
you
no
felt
doubt.
like you felt this is real, answered all your questions. And anyone out
Yeah.
there who feels the same, you can just go right here below. It's a free IBD session, no hassle, no gimmicks, no nothing. Just click that. You can schedule a free call and to have something similar. But Manjot, so you're sitting there and you go, okay, we're going to do this. We feel like this is authentic. And how important we're watching these types of stories in your experience to say, I'm going to give this a shot.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
Huge because like I said, like it's a massive commitment, one,
Yeah.
financially speaking, and also like, you've tried so many things, you kind of feel defeated. So you're like, well, at this
Yeah.
point, but when you look at all the testimonies and like, real experiences that people are talking about, and seems like pretty much everybody, if not fully, better, like have improved in some sort of way.
Yeah, our
That's all you really
stat,
need.
our stat our team goes over is 9 out of 10 of our clients are getting a minimum of 60% symptom relief, a minimum
Wow.
within about 90 to 120 days. And
Wow.
I don't think there's a clinic doctor or practitioner in the world who can say that. Not
Oh, I
one.
don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I
it's
agree with you.
hard. It's really
Yeah.
hard, guys. That's why you get a coach. You have a lifetime membership. Like Manjot's with us forever. It's a one-time investment. And I get it. Like when we talk about like the size of investment, it's like, is it a lot if it works? No, it's not a lot if it works. And we've already spent 5 times more on this trying things that are not even close to as integral as what we're talking about. But let's look at what your symptoms were. So you had been on biologics 10 years. You had taken prednisone. You had taken mesalamine. You had taken immunomodulators. You had done yogurts and probiotics and very strict eating. What were your symptoms?
After I got back from my trip, a very typical, like just loose stools multiple times a day. Like it was only getting worse. We're probably looking at 15 to 20 times I was going.
After
And
all that
all you
hard
see
work, I
is,
can tell why you were so
oh,
defeated. Like
yeah, it was worse.
it
It
was like
sucked.
yeah, I have here your first note in July of 2024. It's now 2025. It's 8 months later. You were having 10 to 15 bowel movements a day.
Hmm.
After all that work, you were having a lot of blood.
Yeah.
a lot of mucus, a lot of urgency, a lot of loose stool. Is that all correct?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Losing weight constantly.
Lose, man, the weight, dude. And I'm so excited about what you've done there. But the bloating, you also had really bad bloating and really bad pain. So when you were at the bathroom, you're getting really bad pain.
Yeah, so that's why I was running to the washroom. A lot of times nothing would really come out. It was just a bit of irritation. And so, like, maybe a couple of drops would come out, but it was a pain that was pushing me like to go to the washroom a lot of times. So I
Yeah.
had actually gone on a carnivore diet after for a little bit. Like I think 2 weeks prior to joining your program, I was on a carnivore diet. So the
Yeah.
the pain went away,
Ah,
but everything else still stayed.
so pain went down, but everything else stayed the same. And I think that's why you gave the pain so high because you weren't sure. You were on a very
Yeah.
strict diet with that. And then you were having some bowel movements of the night. You had pretty low energy.
Yeah.
And you were about 155 pounds,
Yeah, I had
give
lost
or take.
so I was about 195 before things started going downhill again.
Yeah. Then this is on biologic. And this is when your doctor was saying, let's try Rinvoq. But when you
Yeah.
got in, you said, you know what? Let me just try Shield and go
Yeah.
and do no medications while I have this hole. Because the
Yeah.
doctors are saying stop the medications, they don't work anymore. So you're already
Yeah.
off them.
Yeah.
And how long had you been off Remicade before you joined? Do you remember last summer?
So I was literally probably a week prior to joining the program, I was off Remicade.
So you just missed a week of, you just missed an infusion a week later.
Yeah, so
And it
like
was every
well,
8 weeks you were getting infusions?
so usually I was getting like initially I was at like every like couple of months, but then I had to do it more frequently because that's what they thought would help. So I was like even like every like 3 or 4 weeks I was doing it.
And
But
it
then
didn't
when it
work.
wasn't working, so I
Yeah.
called them and she said, well, it looks like Remicade doesn't work anymore. So let's change up the medications. So it took a couple of weeks for them to actually ship the medication, go through the whole like paperwork and whatnot. And so that was that time period when I had actually joined Shield,
Okay.
was when that paperwork was being done and they were shipping the meds.
So you go from getting your Remicade roughly every 8 weeks, which is every 2 months, to
Mm.
every 3 to 4 weeks.
Mm.
It's still not working. You were
Yeah.
supposed to get an infusion. You missed the infusion, and 7 days later, you joined the program and never took a medication after that.
No, never did.
What are your symptoms now?
Really, honestly, for the most part, not really anything. I'd say when it comes to symptoms, it's pretty much all
How many bowel
gone.
movements a day you have in Manjot?
Right now, between 1 to 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
1 to 3 normal bowel movements, no blood, no mucus, no
No.
urgency, no major
No.
diarrhea, any problem like that,
No.
no bloating, no cramping and pain, sleeping through the night.
Mhm.
What's your energy?
Great.
Amazing.
Wonderful.
Eight,
Yeah, yeah.
nine, full tank of gas.
Can't complain. Yeah.
Here's what's also crazy. How much do you weigh?
I'm at 180 right now.
180. You joined
Yeah.
the program at 155 pounds. You're
Yeah.
180. You got rid of all your IBD symptoms.
Hmm.
And you went medication free, cold turkey, which
Mhm.
guys, we do not recommend you do. And we're not saying, yeah, everyone come and give up all your medications and we're going to heal you. No, no,
Yeah.
please. Okay, this is not medical advice. Speak to your doctor, follow your doctor's advice. This just happened. But just to show that you did that, even if you came in and we said, hey, should you, and you said, Coach Armand, should I stop Remicade right now?
Mhm.
Armand, what would you have said?
It's not my position to recommend on medications, and that's not what I do.
It's not what we do. And you would say,
No.
listen, dude, don't just cold turkey your biologics because you could end up in an
Definitely
ER room.
100%. And you don't want to do anything too invasive, right? You don't want to be obtuse, and definitely you're on the drug, so you want to be conscientious that the drug could still help you in those situations. So
Absolutely. And a lot of things
Yeah.
of what we do, the SHIELD program can only help biologics work better, we say. It's all just helping your body. So if you're using an immunosuppressant, you need to, that's okay. But,
Yeah.
but Manjot, you had a situation where the doctors didn't even want you on it anymore after 10 years. They were taking you off anyways, and you had that clear opening, and you
Yeah.
personally made a decision to tell the doctor, let's hold off on Rinvoq. Let me just try this other thing before that.
Yeah, exactly. It worked
How-
out.
And here's what's even crazy. How long until you started noticing symptom relief in the program?
Oh, like, honestly, I'd say probably within a week or two, I started noticing a massive change. Yeah, right away. Like
10,
I could
14 days, your body started
Yeah.
healing up.
literally, yeah.
Guys, I repeat, this is not a magic pill. This is not an IBD drive-through, okay? This is not something where I can just make sure everyone gets these. This is what's possible. Manjot, did you ever believe that you were going to get those kind of results when you signed up?
No, I was still I wasn't sure. I still wasn't quite
Yeah.
sure. But honestly, like after the first week, after talking with Armand and like his recommendations when it comes to like the types of foods that you
Your
should probably
protocol and
be eating,
everything.
all the
Yeah.
protocols, like the difference that I saw within a week, which I hadn't noticed over the 10 years, I was sold, honestly.
It was like a godsend, right?
Oh, 100%. He's a godsend, really.
Wow.
He
And
is.
guys, again, we're just,
Thank you.
we have this disease. We live this. We play this chess match every single day. This is a home run. We are so thrilled, and we pray and wish we can do everything for everyone out there that Manjot got here. I mean, that's unbelievable. What did your parents, what did your family think? I mean, they're all huddled around. If we're going to invest, and you're in Canada where the dollar currency is a little harder.
Yeah.
What did your mom and dad and your family and friends and all, what did everyone think?
Oh, they're very happy.
They
Very
must have
happy.
been like, this is insane.
Oh, yeah. 100. Well, my mom always believed it was going to work.
Wow.
She always had the belief. But yeah.
Tell
very,
your
very
mom I
happy.
say, thank you for her courage and commitment to me. It's a heavy weight to try to heal the world of IBD, right?
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
It's a heavy weight, but we come here and do it right. Well, how key, you already kind of said it, but how key was it to work with Coach Armand? I mean, Coach Armand having this ulcerative colitis himself as a young kid, he's probably seen more clients than I think anyone on our team at this point. Armand, you've worked with probably 400 or 500 IBD clients.
Yeah, roughly around. Yeah.
I
at
mean,
this point.
just and then the success rate's just unbelievable. How important was it for him to be in there and customize your plan? Could you have just done this with online videos and trainings? How important was Coach Armand to your success?
Unreal, really. Unbelievable. Recommendations and things that we need to change, you know, just message him. He'd be quite quick about just letting me know, hey, maybe let's change this up a little bit, you know?
Tweak it. Yep.
Yeah, add a little bit more detox, do
Thank you, bro.
enemas, like
Yep.
those things, like when to add those things. It was a slow and steady thing, but each and every time he changed something, it really made a difference to what it is now. So
Yeah. I mean, just
Definitely more happy
strike
than-
after strike, throwing it down the middle.
Yeah.
Amazing, Coach Armand. Armand, what, for
Thank you.
anyone out there listening, what do you think are some key attributes that made Manjot so successful? I mean, you've seen so
So
many
successful.
people. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Manjot's story is very inspirational for me because he's gone through a lot. You know, he lived in Australia, he was in Canada, he'd been on the Remicade, he tried so many things even before we met him, which already for me that says a lot with the person I work with. If they've already been proactive before we met, you know, he's got the character, he's got the tenacity, he's got the drive to want to make this work. And then of course his mom, for sure, I had the sessions with both Manjot and his mom on the sessions together.
Yeah.
So he had a unit, and I think that's also huge. When you have a unit behind you, the support. And you know, his mom asked questions the same way he asked questions, so they were working kind of in unity, which I think for Manjot as well, it makes it less of a lonely journey. He had that support network which he could vouch with. But yeah, I think definitely the drive, the commitment, and the willingness to try, right? Not you know, of course, there's always an element of when you start something like this, like I hope it works, but of course I don't know 100% if it will. But you know, just still having that open mind and being driven to want to try these new options, and that's what he did, and that's what his mom had as well, and I think that's what they brought. That was
Brilliantly
big.
said. I want to echo that too. When you have someone else who's looking at this and speaking the language with you, maybe even helping with some recipes or getting systems together of what you're going to do and why, it really helps to bring it together and get the results. It's a lonely road for all of us, and all three of us have had severe IBD ourselves, and we've all been able to recover. And if we can do it on this call, everyone out there, you can do it too. And if you need a free call, it's right there below. Manjot, you know, some last words of advice. Or I would say one thing. If there's one thing you could highlight about your plan that anyone out there who really resonates with you and has tried a lot, what's one strategy, an idea that you think you would want to highlight to everyone? And remember, guys, it was customized over a long period of time. But what do you think?
yeah, I mean, there's so many different variables when it comes to the disease itself. But I think for the most part, I think when I started noticing the biggest difference was probably the detox and the enemas. I think that really started to kind of solidify and decrease the frequency.
Yep.
I think that made the biggest difference. And I find now even, I'm not doing enemas right now, but
You don't need to.
Yeah, you don't need to. But when I feel like, you know, not on a regular basis, but like once in a while, if you've eaten something off,
If something's feeling off. Yeah.
something a little bit off, I just do the enema for a couple of days, you know, intermittently, like once or twice a week. And usually I'm kind of back at it again, if need be.
Yeah, and guys, when we see that colon, when you're getting all that blood and all that urgency and all that diarrhea and all that mucus, that's usually a lower sigmoid colon issue. And so that's where going straight to the enema can really help to heal that. You have to do it smart. You have to do it as part of a plan. It's not something you can take and try to do outside of your holistic shield. Okay, so I'd love to hear that. Any last words of advice, Manjot, for anyone? And I know if you want to speak it in your mother tongue, feel free. If you want to say it in English, up to you. But any last words of advice for people who resonate with you, feel lost, feel hopeless, and maybe felt like you did before you joined? What would you say?
Yeah, I would say that if you're on the fence, I think it's worthwhile just giving it a go, because I feel like if you can get your life back, it's definitely worth just spending that kind of money to see if that will make a difference. It seems like it does based on all the previous testimonies as well as also in my case. I think in my mother tongue I would say ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ unsure ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ just try ਕਰਕੇ ਦੇਖੋ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਤੇ it makes a huge difference. So I would say really if you're really on the fence, just give it a go. If you've tried everything else, this really did help.